Ladies and gentlemen, oh, it's been a while since you guys have seen me. I'm Christ I am Disciple, and we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. But before we do, I just want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God again, uh, who has blessed us with the opportunity so far and the health and strength to be here today so that we can talk with you and with each other. So I'm really happy to have this moment where I could speak with you guys because, we could have been in a situation where the world and the complexity of the world could have changed. The freedom of speech could have been deprived. Even now, we see uh, people joining partisan lines in the United States of America and trying to defend someone who tried to overthrow the democracy there. It's horrific to think about. No accountability. It's not like back in 2001 when a terrorist attack on the U.S. Trade Center's buildings resulted in a unanimous bipartisan move to be able to find out, investigate, and bring to justice the people behind that. Osama bin Laden was the guy behind the Trade Center bombings. And finally, he was caught. And in this case, the person behind the insurrection against Congress and the Senate was Donald Trump, and he needs to be convicted unanimously and bipartisanly. And I do believe the majority of Americans, the majority of the world, is looking for that justice to play out. And so the Republican senators who want to play uh, team sport on this issue are going to be heavily responsible and held accountable for any votes they have inside of the Senate, especially in light of the evidence that will be presented. But we are here today not to speak so much about that, just to be fortunate that we are in a democratic world today. And first of all, I want to invite guests, any guest, to jump up on this stream. You can be a guest on our program. Simply click on the link that you see presented to you there. It reads, all who want to be in studio guests on this stream just need to enter by clicking the link, and I'll shortly bring you onto the program. But please be respectful and mute your microphone when you are entering this program. But we have so much to talk about today. As you can see scrolling across the screen is Zack Snyder's Justice League, the road to this reality. Shades, what's up? Ricochet says, hey, I can't join the stream, but I can stay to listen and comment for the next 25 minutes. Shout out to you. That's as much time as we need. And thank you for the support, Shades, as I'm streaming here. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will come in and go out. And as the day goes along, I'll be streaming in between tasks and jobs that I'm doing so that you guys can I'm going to dedicate this day towards Zack Snyder's Justice League. And almost everything I do on this channel will be dedicated towards it. But first, I just wanted to give thanks to God that we are here today to talk. As you know, I am a Christian, and my name is Christ I am Disciple. So I want to talk to you guys about this journey with Zack Snyder. So you guys are going to bear with me a little bit, and we're going to have a good old time here, okay? Because there's a lot to unpack, and let's just talk about the road to this particular reality. We are moments away from getting Zack Snyder's Justice League. And this is so exciting. And I want to dedicate this week and the next week to this as we talk more about it. Now, let me just go through some of the things that we were discussing. So one of the things you will see as scrolling across the bottom of the screen, just follow us, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, is Zack Snyder's Justice League, A Road to Reality. But we're also going to talk about how big an event this is. So we'll look at how big this event will be, because how many people have really investigated that. And so what we'll look at is the latest polls. I'll look at some of the polls that are actually on YouTube. There's some YouTube polls there. And let me just go to the YouTube poll that is here. So on YouTube, the latest poll that I did, a quick survey, which movie are you looking forward to seeing this year? And I I had Zack Snyder's Justice League, obviously. I also had Dune, and I also had Godzilla versus Kong, and then I had Black Widow, and I also had, in addition to that, other movies out here. And other could be Morbius, it could be, an array of movies. And 77% of the votes picked Zack Snyder's Justice League as the movie they're waiting to see. And of course, this movie was supposed to come out in 2017. So it's been about 3 years, almost 4 years now, since that movie was supposed to come out. Well, it actually came at the end of 2017. And another poll in which we can look at Zack Snyder's Justice League information. And shout out to Picochet. Picochet says, sorry for mispronouncing your YouTube name on parts 2 and 3 of my BVS Unbiased review, by the way. No problem, no problem. But let me show you guys yet another poll that was conducted. And this was on Twitter. And this one's much more exhaustive poll. And I conducted a poll on Twitter saying, what movie are you looking forward to most this year? And retweet after you vote. And so far, it has 945 votes. Okay. 93% of the people are looking forward to Zack Snyder's Justice League. 4.3% want Godzilla versus Kong. 1.6% want Dune. And 1% wants whatever other movie. Okay. So that's the kind of event we're looking at when we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I think those numbers pretty much say something. Of course, we want to know the magnitude of it, how vast, how many people in all globally are we talking about? I don't know. How many people even in the United States of America that want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League movie? And I've subscribed to HBO Max. As you know, HBO Max is restricted to the U.S. territories. Now, somebody was talking about having a VPN to be able to access HBO Max, but I'm not really comfortable with using VPNs. I know it's a security system to access other servers in other countries, and from there be able to access things. Because I always believe in honesty, and for me, at least, I don't think that a VPN should be used for that. But then again, this is just my opinion. I don't know. But people are going to receive it. I think it's going to be huge. The hype engine for it, obviously, has begun. Zack Snyder on Twitter talked about the hype engine of this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie in its full fruition. And I'm really looking forward to some of you guys jumping on here and talking about it. And so I'm really happy about the fact that Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming. It's coming. Now, of course, a lot of you have a pressing question, and it's a pressing question for me as well. When is it coming? That is the biggest question. When is Zack Snyder's Justice League coming? We still don't have a date. And the movie's coming out sometime in March. We know it's sometime in March. But when? When is it coming out? Of course, we saw that, Godzilla versus Kong seemed to have been competing with the spot for a minute. And then all of a sudden, Godzilla versus Kong has moved their date. And so we've been watching and following all those things. But when is the date? We want to know. We want to know, right? Again, if you guys are interested in joining this chat right now and you want to invite your friends to enjoy a chat, this stream is for you guys as we go down memory lane and we remember every step of the way how we got here. That's one of the biggest things that we want to do. And so, Mahir official, are you excited as I am? God, dude, I am super excited. Shout out to Mahir official. I'm super excited to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think a whole bunch of us are extremely excited I was telling people that this thing's going to have to go to IMAX. It's going to have, it was designed for IMAX. And I'm hyper excited for it. I mean, let me tell you guys how we got to this point from my point of view. Of course, each one of you guys might want to tell your version of it. And I'm going to be really happy for us all to talk about it on here. But let me tell you about my personal journey towards this reality, this road to reality that we're looking at. And I'm super excited for it, Mahir. Listen, first of all, what changed my life in many respects was Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. So it all began for me with Man of Steel. I was not interested in Superman like that. I was a Christian. I didn't really watch movies anymore. I wasn't really into the physical stuff, as we say. You know, I was all on Christ, and I was preaching Christ, and you know, movies and stuff didn't really appeal to me. And still to this day, as much as I talk about the spiritual nature of movies and a deeper insight into movies, which I haven't been talking to you guys much about of late, and I have fallen off the path, and that I kind of started to curse and swear, and then I'm trying to clamp down on those things, my ego and stuff. But what I'm so excited about was the same feeling I had for starting to anticipate Man of Steel. When I first saw Man of Steel, okay, so you guys will understand where I'm coming from. When I first saw Man of Steel, the movie was more than I expected. It was more than I ever expected in my life. And it literally spoke to me because I was at a position in my life as a Christian where I was asking, what is my role in this world? And for those of you who've ever manifested the power of God, you've actually prayed for people and they got healed, or you've actually just thought a thought and it manifested itself. It's a different world when you're born again like that, okay? Where you're literally manifesting the power of God. Now, a lot of people will not understand what I'm saying and they think I'm crazy, but Superman literally reminded me of what a Christian is. Now, for those people who don't really get it, no problem. I get you. But there are supernatural things that happen in this world, okay? Even to this day, if you and me, we purposefully pray or meditate on something long enough, it will manifest itself. That's how powerful we are as human beings, okay? And Zack Snyder captured some of the metaphysical attributes we literally have as human beings. And I don't want to go into metaphysics, and I don't want to go into physics, and I don't want to go into quantum physics with you guys, but suffice it to say, Zack Snyder captured what we call, what we've learned is two things in science we've learned. Protein deprivation causes people to become more and more connected with the universe. Because it's almost like what we call fasting. Fasting, as you fast more and more, you actually align with the world around you and you're able to see things clearer and clearer, okay? And I literally went without food and water, literally, for almost a month, okay? And I had energy, I had everything, okay? And I'm telling you guys, and the way how I even entered the fast was weird, okay? And I can't talk to you guys about all of this right now without people thinking I'm crazy, but suffice it to think about this. Superman was not accepted in the world. He couldn't truly reveal who he was. I understood that. I could identify with that as a Christian. I couldn't speak like I really wanted to speak to the world without them thinking I'm crazy, without thinking that I'm a threat. And if I were to pray a prayer and it manifested in the heavens or it manifested on earth, people would think I'm some sort of demon or something. You know what I mean? The power that Superman had that he had to hide, I understood it so well. And they built that story so well in Man of Steel that I literally connected with it from day one. And the thing about Zack Snyder's movies for me, I can't speak for anybody else, is the rewatchability on those things is ridiculous. People don't get it. Once you get what he was saying and the unique way in which he was saying what he was saying, it was something where you could go back and watch it again and again and again and again. And you could just keep on rewatching movies like that. And that's what I love about Zack Snyder's Justice League. In fact, one of my good friends, he's a Muslim, but he's a good friend like me, and he's a very spiritual guy. He told me what he appreciated about what I was unpacking about Zack Snyder's Justice League was the spiritual element of it. Zack Snyder brought a spiritual element to the movie making that was different. It was inspiring rather than intimidating. Usually when they bring spiritual elements in movies, it's either magical or it's intimidating. It's some sort of horror movie, right? Where you get the spiritual elements. Zack Snyder, there's another movie that I think is also great, is Unbreakable. Unbreakable. In fact, Unbreakable actually speaks to a part of our human psyche, which is the ability to achieve what seems unachievable. Unbreakable actually speaks to that. And if you watch the whole entire trilogy, you will see that the director of that movie was actually speaking to an actual part of our psyche. Like, these things are actually real, and people don't realize how, and you see it in our athletes all the time, how they're able to do these sort of superhuman things that we don't expect them to do. And it's because they're in a certain zone or a certain mindset. That's why people worship the athletes, not understanding it's really the attributes and the mental discipline that they have that allows them to be able to do what they do. You know, I also have a boxing channel, so I know boxing is 90% mental and 10% physical. It sounds crazy, but boxing is more a mental thing than it is a physical thing. Even though, and the point about it is, take for example, right? And then this all comes back to Zack Snyder's Justice League, so you guys can see how fully I want to get this discussion going. Take for example, the secret to life is execution, right? You can have a great idea, but if you don't execute it, it doesn't matter. What athletes are able to do is go from the idea to disciplining the mind through the body to be able to execute that idea. The idea is, I am going to be able to go through any situation, deal with any situation in combat, and I will come out victorious. That's the idea. Now it has to be made manifest. This is what I mean by manifestation. I'm speaking in spiritual language. And so they train their body to develop their body as much as possible. And then their mind takes their body to the next level. Whether it's through sharpness of decision making, whether it's true, but first you have to rehearse. The body has to rehearse. It's doing repetition. Now there's a way for someone to go actually completely from mind to body translation in an instant. And we've seen it a number of times in very, very desperate situations. I've seen a woman lift a car to protect her toddler. The car fell on the kid, and she lifted the car physically up into the air. There's no way naturally she could do that, right? But she just lifted it up with her butt and took the child. She held the car with one hand, pulls the child out from under the car, and puts the car back down. That is an immediate moment where the mind and body fuse into one. And the mind has dictated a command to the body. The situation has become so dire. And in desperate situations, people do incredible things. Like in a desperate situation, a person will immediately learn Spanish. You have a capacity. You guys don't understand. You guys have a capacity beyond what you think. It's just that you haven't been pushed to push yourself to that level where you can do some of the most impossible things you would never think you could do. You can do. It's just you have not pushed yourself. You've been very comfortable believing what people have taught you for years. And so you haven't transitioned to what Zack Snyder calls a godlike level. We are all gods walking this earth. Kamunji. We're all coming, we're made in the image and likeness of a bigger God. But we are all gods ourselves. And that is what Zack Snyder is talking through this mythos about. And so there's a lot to Zack Snyder's Justice League that I really, really would appreciate to talk about at length. About what when I see the movie, I'll be able to talk at length about it. because it's really great stuff. Picochet said, Man of Steel was a true eye-opener for many people. Yes, yes. I come from a Christocentric background where Christ is the center of everything. I actually call Christ the original Superman. My icon is Superman for a reason, because Superman literally represents the quality of hope. That's what it's all about. It's about hope. The thing that keeps people moving onwards and forwards is the fact that there's a hope of a better day, right? And that's essentially what Superman embodies. And while we got that feeling from a Christopher Reeve Superman, making people very hopeful, I think the first time we actually got that idea and understood and ingrained the idea of what Superman is, and that it goes beyond the individual who people call Superman, the idea of hope, it came from actually Zack Snyder's Superman, Man of Steel, right? And there was a reason he wasn't called Superman, all right? We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm coming. I'm just I have things I'm doing in this week. So besides Zack Snyder talking about Man of Steel, meaning that, we were talking about the comic book name that he was called, right? He was also called Man of Steel, right? Comic book version. Now, besides that, think about this. Superman wasn't a man, first of all. He was a Kryptonian, okay? But they called him the Man of Steel. By the end of Man of Steel, people are considering him human, or they consider him alien. Some people consider him human. Some people consider him God. For most part, most people consider him an alien. So what Zack Snyder tried to lay the blueprint for was the humanity of Superman in Man of Steel. That he was raised like a human being, that he lived in Middle America, in Kansas particularly. That's where he grew up. That's where he was bullied. That's where he was, raised by his father and his mother with Middle American values, farmer values. That's where he started to find out who he was, where his father explained to him what he was, but yet at the same time, he behaved and moved and operated more or less like a Kansas person, a small American guy, right? From Smallville. Now, because he wasn't human, his non-human attributes would show up all the time, especially when he had his desire, the human desire, to save people's lives, right? So what eventually happened is, because he kept on doing these supernatural things, people started actually getting afraid of him, and then the bullies started to try to bully him. And it's interesting how his father deals with the issue of bullying. It's interesting how his father and mother deal with the issues of the concerns of the people in Smallville, with how this individual, which is Clark, is behaving so unnatural. Shout out to Picochet. Superman is how we see him. Clark Kent is who he is. That's how I've come to understand this correctly. Right. So Clark is the raised, cultivated human part of Kal-El, who is really a Kryptonian, but he's been raised as a human being, and he fit in like a human being, right? And so that's where the man in Man of Steel begins. But it's not just limited to Clark, as we all know. It is also Jonathan Kent, which is the man in Man of Steel. It's Martha Kent, who's the man in Man of Steel. It's Louis Lane, who's the man in Man of Steel. Okay, it's not just Clark. Clark is a composite of several other human beings who have influenced him and allowed him to have the feeling of humanity. It's also his friend, the guy who was in the 7-Eleven, the 7-Eleven kid, the guy who grew up to be working in the 7-Eleven, who was at first he was poking fun at him because he was so kind of quiet, distant, different, and didn't mix with them so much. Pete Russ. That's the man in Man of Steel, because these guys influence Clark. Clark reacts to those guys. This is what makes him the man that he is today. And his father would constantly, his adopted father, Jonathan Kent, would say, that man, whether good or bad, he's going to change the world. Because at the time, Jonathan Kent didn't know what Clark was. He didn't know, right? He didn't know he was Kryptonian. Jonathan Kent died not knowing what Clark really was. All he knew was that he was special and he wasn't from Earth. And his father, his real father, he didn't know who his real father was, but he thought his real father had him there for a purpose. I guess Jonathan was a Christian, or maybe he had Christian, Middle American Christian upbringing, or whatever it was. But he was smart enough to get things tested out and checked out. And the important thing is not trying to go through all of this, but just to give you guys an impression of how I felt about it. And you guys can tell me also how you feel about it. Don't forget, you can jump into the program. Just click on the link to jump into the program. Pick a shades. He's going to interface with me nonstop. And so he says, I need to leave now. It's almost time for my my message time. Do what you got to do, my brother. I'll be around here for a little bit, but we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League and the build up to it. And the point behind it is, Man of Steel is not about a literal man of steel. And that's what's so beautiful. Zack brought out that he wasn't even a man. And he made the elaborate point that he was an alien. And I found this so beautiful because even now, with the reversal of DACA, the reversal of Muslim bans, the reversal of, countless xenophobic things that have happened. Okay, the border wall stuff, stopping of ICE, separating families from their kids. I just feel like this is the moment to speak about these things. Zack Snyder was able to show us what an alien among us is, what an outsider among us is. An outsider doesn't have to be an outsider. It can be us making that person an outsider. It could be us being the people who actually decide this person's an outsider. They don't belong with us because they're different. And each outsider has a certain amount of power to be able to help us and to change things. We just heard of, I don't know if you guys were watching the debate on television with, this gentleman who was defending DACA and trying to bring it to the fore. And he was speaking about this young girl who came from Pakistan and, entered into healthcare. And she's right now working very hard in the COVID environment. She's trying to get her path to citizenship so she can be even more beneficial to people. And I just feel like Zack Snyder captured xenophobia like that. He captured xenophobia in Man of Steel and in Batman v Superman. This man captured xenophobia like nobody ever captured xenophobia before. It was one of the most powerful things. And me as a Christian looking at this, feeling like an outsider in the world sometimes, it definitely directly appealed to me. The fact that he would have the audacity in spite of the movie being a movie about an alien on Earth, which he made an abundantly clear point. Superman's an alien. Okay. And his parents are aware that he's an alien. He makes this resounding point that he's an alien on Earth. Even in that point, we find that Zack Snyder wants to highlight the human side of this alien. He wants to show you he's a man. And the beauty of the movie actually develops further and further to the point where the military leader says, this man, he doesn't call him an alien anymore. He was calling him an alien, he was calling him a thing. but then he looked at him as a man. It reminds me of Star Trek, where I can't remember what the cyborg's name was, but the cyborg in Star Trek, this is the old versions of Star Trek, where the cyborg is received as human. He always asks what it is to be human. You know, this question about being human is always a centrist question, but it stemmed all the way back to Superman, if you were really paying attention. And what Zack did was he came with something a little bit different. He came with something where Superman is a fake human, right? He's pretending to be human. He's not human. He's fake human, right? Yet he's called Superman. He's not just called man, he's called the Superman, right? They call him the Superman. So they embrace him by calling him a man. And he's a Superman, right? That's what the military call him. Now, what's interesting about that is that that's the same journey I felt like I was going through. I felt like I couldn't show the world who I was as a Christian. And not fully. I felt like I was contained. I couldn't tell the truth of the gospel. I couldn't go out there really and just go guns blazing and tell everybody my weaknesses and my strengths as a Christian. And that's because also of the way how my situation was. And I tried to keep manifesting that value. And I can tell you for a fact, this movie helped me to realize that expressing yourself and speaking out is more important than hiding in the dark and being silent. And it's amazing how people bashed that movie. Zack Snyder's, the Man of Steel. They bashed the ending of the movie. They really tried to tear into it. They tried to pick it apart. And I understood why. Because Zack didn't come from a Hollywood kind of way of making movies. He came from a different approach, an organic approach, a small country approach to making the movies. And the story of Man of Steel, the most powerful parts of Man of Steel are not even the action scenes. They're the dramatic scenes of Man of Steel. To this day, I still see people talking about how Zack Snyder got Man of Steel wrong, which has never made sense to me. It was so right for me. It was the right timing. It was the right time. For me, as someone who professes to be a Christian, who may not even be walking the Christian path the most best way, the most appropriate way, to be able to stand up and say, I don't believe certain things are right. And there is something that's right or wrong. To have morals, to have values, to want to stand not just for morals and values, but to stand for what we can be as human beings, more than we think we can be. And I felt like coming out and doing that would have consequences, that by coming out and speaking out about these things, you're open to being attacked. You're open to being crucified. You're open to being analyzed. And sometimes you have to scale down certain things based on the environment you're in. It's not a one-way street. And we saw that in BVS, where Superman, he had to listen to mankind. He couldn't just do everything unidirectional. In a world where you're dealing with people and you say you want to help people, then you need to know what their concerns are. And you need to really conduct according to their rules, what they want you to do for them. And I learned this lesson in relationships. I learned this lesson in how I address people. If you say you want to help people, then you've got to listen to them on what they really want help with and how they want to conduct it. And we were able to see that in BVS. Leroy Kong says, restore the Snyderverse. Shout out to Leroy, man. I hope you're wherever you are. I hope you're doing well in the workplace, etc. Because at the end of the day, the journey towards this movie became something that came off of a film screen and caused activism. I will never forget how many videos I did on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I wasn't just there to defend the film because it was just mercilessly attacked, but I was also there to show people what was in that film. And I got the film. I really enjoyed the film because Batman v Superman to me is an eclectic film. It's a film that involves horror elements, as in the bat scene with the with um with Bruce Wayne being attacked by the man bat in the cemetery in his dream. It had other horrific elements, even the showdown between Batman and Superman when Batman finally dominated Superman. It was quite horrific in my opinion. I watched it right down to the end. I was like, Batman really gonna kill him? I remember that so starkly in my mind. There was little triplets of humor in there, sarcastic humor. Shout out to David Tolson Jr. I've always thought it's interesting how the movie's called Man of Steel compared to Superman 78. Look how the titles begin. Superman focuses on super. Man of Steel focuses on the man. Absolutely. And the thing about it is, let's not forget, David, Kal-El's not a man. It's still something that, it's kind of like it's like me saying I'm American or I'm a U.S. citizen or I'm American. I'm not American. However, I ascribe to American values. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing about what really, like we talk about, for example, a guy who adopts kids, but he's more of a father to his kids than the real father is to his kids. So who's the real father? Similarly, I think that Superman epitomizes the values you would want from someone who considers themselves a good person or a good human being. And I think that's the important thing about Superman, that deep down, he's trying to do something good. He's trying to be good. He's trying to be the best of the humanity that humanity has to offer, even though he's not human. And to me, that's Jesus. Jesus basically was doing that. And what ultimately happened to Jesus? He got killed, right? That's an ultimate price. And that should be spoken to the senators today who need to convict Donald Trump. Sometimes you get crucified for being good. That doesn't mean you don't be good. You don't do the right thing. Because everything I am saying here, whether people like it or not, or they want me to say it or not, I am going to say because it is relevant to the present situation. It's not just something arbitrary we're speaking about here. This is a real issue in terms of morality of individuals. And morality is a part of humanity. And so I'm not here to give you guys entertainment. No, accountability is greater than entertainment. And accountability doesn't always feel and sound good. So we're going to talk about this in relevance, because this road to this Zack Snyder Justice League is very pertinent and relevant to today. Very. I don't know what Godzilla versus Kong is going to give us or what Dune is going to give us, but I can tell you what Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to give us. It's going to tell us how we need to work together. And the first thing we need to do is be accountable. And so far, what I am seeing from these senators in Congress and in the Senate is I'm seeing people who do not want to take accountability for their actions. They're not willing to say, I was wrong. They're not willing to say, this was wrong. You cannot have unity with people who are not willing to admit when certain things are just wrong for the whole institution. How can you work with somebody who's undermining what you're trying to do? You can't work. You cannot unite. It is written in scripture. Two men cannot walk together unless they agree on something. So there must be accountability. And that goes to Ray Fisher's situation as well. How can Ray Fisher work? How can Ray Fisher work with the head of DC Films if they do not agree? There's no way. And so that is where we have to talk about this. In Batman v Superman, Superman was willing to be held accountable for his actions that happened in the desert. And he came to the hearing. He showed up to the trial. And he did not try to defend himself. He was silent as they placed the judgment upon him. He listened. The supposedly most powerful man in the universe, that they called a figure of controversy, was willing to subject himself to mankind and be judged by them without any defense in his favor except for himself being there. And what's interesting is Superman never once had to defend himself. What happened? The truth came out through Lois Lane, through the culprit himself, the seditious Lex Luthor. So it came out. And we can see, again, parallels between Lex Luthor and Donald Trump. But let's go to the journey, because I'm going to speak about my personal journey. You guys can share in your personal journey. Because people say, movies are not supposed to be political. Listen, man, all things are fair on this channel. Because like I said before, what Zack Snyder's Man of Steel showed me is to speak and not be silent. Speak up when things are true and not be silent. And he activated a group of people we call the Snyder Cut fans and Snyder Cut fandom to speak out. And that's what we did on Twitter. And we didn't speak out in a caustic, destructive way, even though some of us did. And they're purged from us. We spoke out in a constructive way through the arts, through our love for the movie, through competitions, and through raising money for certain charities, whether it's Feeding America, whether it was the Organization for Suicide Prevention. We decided to have a voice in a positive way, and all in order to bring forth change and to bring forth accountability, we have to move in a positive way. And I support Ray Fisher to the very end. It's interesting to see what's happening in Warner Brothers with Ray Fisher and with Walter Hamada and with Jeff Johns and with John Berg, you know, and even Tommy Ebert to some degree, is playing out in the national circle as well. And it's interesting, Colin Kaepernick's movement, where he took a knee, is now showing that he was justified in taking that knee. We see so many police officers in that insurrection at the Capitol, side by side with white supremacists. Do you think America is going to let that, and in light of what happened to George Floyd, with a white police officer killing him? Who's to say he wasn't a white supremacist himself? Why is he alive walking the streets? Why is he alive in police protection? What has happened to him? So, accountability. You can't have a president of the United States having all of these, the worst of America, racists, white supremacists, Confederates, filthing on mocking, desecrating the seat of democracy and get away with that? Oh, no, 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 no. He must be held accountable. The people who organized that should be held accountable. The people who did the desecration should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And if the Republicans in the Senate don't hold them accountable, we the people will hold them accountable. So the courts and in the societies they go back into, they will be seen and scorned and mocked and shamed for all their days. And the world will frown upon them. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice brought us into the sphere where we saw everything is not always perfect in the world. And even heroes are not perfect. And we always feel that our heroes are somehow perfect. They don't make mistakes. They don't do anything wrong. And Zack Snyder shattered that glass ceiling. He showed our heroes go through, because they carry such responsibility, they go through very difficult situations, which they themselves, coming into their own, have to resolve in their own minds. That's realism. That's reality. Having to make the tough decisions and follow through with the tough decisions with resolve that sometimes can be so much to bear that the resolve to push through those tough decisions can sometimes be broken in moments of weakness. And so I believe that to be as realistic as it comes. We have seen it with presidents, from Franklin D. Roosevelt in World War III, sickly. And at a certain point in time, his resolve had fallen, but he picked it back up. This is not something that is unique to Batman v Superman, and people feel depressed. Oh, I feel so depressed about. No, it's nothing to be depressed about. Not one thing. That's human nature. That's realism. But a lot of people didn't want to accept that realism. They didn't want to see themselves in the mirror. They didn't want to see that Zack Snyder was pointing to the reality of the situation. They came to escape reality and watch these fictitious characters, and Zack Snyder brought the reality to them, to confront them, to make them think about it, to make them realize that you can't escape. Running away to escape reality is not the solution to all our problems. We must address them head on. And all of us are guilty of it. So the journey to where we are at, where people can accept responsibility for their actions as these senators. Now, let me just say, 5 of the senators in the Senate, when they did this preliminary vote to see, the constitutionality of Donald Trump being convicted, 5 of them, most noteworthy, 5 of them carried it through. And they were Republican senators. And why I respect that is because these people realize accountability is greater than entertainment. And more will follow. I guarantee you that. And I spoke at length about that in another channel. But the point is, when we look at Batman v Superman, Superman had to come to terms with the good and bad of the responsibility of taking care of the world and being someone who takes care of the world. And Zack Snyder was explicit in saying, well, he didn't say it explicitly. Yes, he did. He explicitly was pushing the point that one leader cannot take care of the entire world. There must be multilateral leadership. Do you know what that's called? It is called democracy. No one man runs the entire world. What is needed is a relationship between the leaders of the world working together to be able to represent the people that they govern fairly and just. That's what Batman v Superman was proposing. Not unilateral exchange, multilateral exchange. Beautiful, beautiful. Because the summation of the parts, making a whole, is better than one individual part, no matter how outstanding that individual part is. We all know that Superman is not omnipresent. As fast as he can fly, he cannot address everyone. That is why he always needs help, not just from other metahumans or superhumans, but from us. It always comes back to us. We. By we embodying the ideas and the values that Superman has, we will be our brother's keeper. We'll look out for our brother. And then there'll be no need for Superman to be doing sweeping things with human-to-human interactions as much as he would have had to. Only for outer world and meta-human threats. So I say these things to let people understand that Zack was commenting about the world. Yes, he talked about the corruption in the CIA. Yes, he talked about men with power and how they behave. And it seemed somewhat narcissistic. But the truth be told, a lot of times, people who are not fit for office or fit for jobs only want things and positions of power to solidify that power so that they can get more leverage to benefit their own selves. They're not going in there to serve. Superman explicitly went out there to serve. Batman goes out there to serve. Some of the politicians today, they're dedicated to serving, not dedicated to reaping benefits for themselves solely and only. And we must be able to see the difference between that and honor the efforts that they make. And I'm talking on both sides of the aisle. There are decent people. You don't hear about them much in the news, but there are decent people out there. And I feel like this road to Zack Snyder's Justice League brings those things to light. And yes, good people do die. Good people do get destroyed. And seditious people succeed at things. And we saw the seditious Lex Luthor kill senators in the Congress, murder a lot of members of Congress in Washington, D.C. You could ask yourself, how did he manage to do that? By implanting a bomb in a wheelchair. Superman couldn't see. And all of this simply to make Superman look like he was the villain. Good people getting destroyed happens in this world. People who really are trying to have multilateral discussions, really trying to do good things. And this should be a note to us that when we decide to go about doing something good, it could cost us our lives. But do it anyway. It could cost us our reputations, but do it anyway. Do it anyway. You know what's amazing? That assault on the Capitol building back in 2016 when Batman v Superman came out. Did you guys expect an assault on the Capitol building, but not 4 years later? Did you guys ever expect that? How do we talk about Batman v Superman without knowing that? Very interesting point. Hold on a second. I'm just waiting for them to go by. So the road to Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't one that I take light. It isn't one that when I see how people are behaving now informs me the same way it used to inform me before Batman v Superman. But what we as a Snyder Cut family were able to do was we were able to see all of that in Hollywood. And let's make it abundantly clear. Hollywood can be a dirty, dirty place. A dirty, dirty place. It ain't that much different to what we're seeing in Washington, D.C. right now. But Hollywood is starting to address their issues and clean up their act. And a lot of people now are speaking out. And we just happen to be in that season of change. Because the more you speak out, the better it is for you. Especially when you're speaking about something good. There are people who don't hesitate to speak evil. They don't hesitate to spread lies. That's what Wonder Woman 84 was talking about. Nothing good comes from lies. And in Batman v Superman, we saw Lex Luthor, the ultimate seditionist, spreading lies about Superman. They looked like truth, but they were lies. We saw that Donald Trump and his minions were spreading lies about the election. But nothing good comes from lies. Political statement as well. I know the artist wasn't thinking all of that, but I extract that. I'm not afraid to speak out about things now. And so Batman v Superman wasn't just about the world accepting Superman, because he ended up dying for them. Though that was one of the points, what was very instructive to me was the fact that doing good does not mean that only good was going to result for you. It may be the greater good for everyone else. But you may be a casualty of doing good. Do it anyway. Do what's the right thing anyway, because ultimately in the end it works for a good. And that's what we did with the Snyder Cut family. We knew a wrong was done. Some of us weren't on board. I wasn't on board initially in the beginning. I was defending to the very end until I saw the Superman clip that came out on DVD, the additional footage. But when you tell the truth, guys, it will bear itself out. And the truth always shows up. So I respect you guys for this journey. And I watched the Snyder Cut family after Justice League, the theatrical cut came out. It was all right. It was an okay cut. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. I watched it 10 times. And I was defending it. I was one of those people who were vehemently defending it and trying to find value in it. Even though Superman's face looked not very good. It wasn't up to the standard we're used to. None of it. It was colorful. Not super colorful, but colorful, you know. It's an okay film. I drew out a lot of things from it. But when I saw what Zack Snyder had in store, and I started listening to the people who had protested it, I realized I'd been hoodwinked by Warner Brothers. They lied to us. And my eyes started to open. And a lot of people right now who follow Donald Trump, they're opening their eyes now and realizing he lied to them. And they're watching the politicians spin stories and tales, and they're realizing they're a bunch of liars. People are watching what is happening. They're watching. And I realized I was being lied to. Tommy Emmer, who said, "Oh, we're just continuing Zack Snyder's vision, and Joss Whedon is just adding little touches to finish up." No, they did extensive reshoots. The rumors were correct. Hold on a second. Yes, Mr. Mike. Huh? Yeah. What's that? Okay. Sorry for the interruption. My neighbor, man, my neighbor just got me some time and stuff, so I had to disappear for a minute. Hold on one second. This plant is known as thyme, acai. My neighbor just gave me some of it. Really nice of him. So, Damien Anson Vincent, what's up, man? Good day, Anson, and everyone in the chat. Hashtag Zack Snyders Justice League. Yes, sir. Salute to you, brother. Coming through. See, I believe that if you want to hop on here too, my brother, you can hop on. Just check the link up on top. The link is up on top somewhere. Think about these movies is that you can always find a relevance to the movie and what's happening today. And BVS, you're going to meet people in life like Lex Luthor who manipulate. All right, good, man. Good to hear you at work again. Praise God. In life, you're going to meet people try to manipulate narratives, whether it's through gossip or it's through making things appear a certain way. Some of them are blatant with it. And some of them try to manipulate situations to their advantage. The way how I like how BVS did it was you were never seeing what Lex was doing in the background. You're beginning to understand as the story unfolds how he was involved in almost everything that was happening. Notice Lex gets incarcerated at the end of the movie, but he has success. See, what a lot of people don't realize is wicked people can succeed at what they do. They have dedication to it. And to some degree, we're going to see how far the success of Donald Trump will be in terms of him not getting convicted. It's always a possibility. Life, democracy, safety of the earth, etc., is always a tentative issue. The freedoms we take for granted are tentative things. It can be here one day and next day it can be gone like that. That's what I liked about Justice League as well. The fate of the earth was in the hands of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman when it came down to everything. It was versus Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was trying to destroy the whole entire world. He didn't have a problem destroying the world if Superman got killed. His focus was on destroying Superman. Why? Well, why did Donald Trump want to destroy the democracy? Even though he couldn't do better in government. Same reason. The democracy was going against his psyche and values of what a leader should be. Just like how Superman was contradicting everything that he thought the world should be like. And if you're going to be a leader, you got to be corrupt. At least have a certain degree of corruption. This was his idea of what leadership was. You couldn't be pure and be a leader. Not according to him. So, Superman's existence rubbed him the wrong way. Just like how leaders seeking to do positive things, sincerely from the heart, are constantly resisted by corrupt people. Because corrupt people, it flies in the face of what they believe leadership is. They have done things the corrupt way. and they reached and ascended the heights of power. And they believe that's the way how things must be done. So ultimately, in the end of the Batman v Superman, Lex wins. He proves that Superman is not as powerful a leader as everyone thinks he is. He proves that Superman is fake. And a lot of people didn't like that Superman died at the end of the movie. It was very disturbing to a lot of people. How could Lex win? How could the evil person, the seditionist, win? Understandable. But that happens sometimes in life in the journey. But the story is never over. And we saw glimpses, a hint that though Superman was being buried into the earth, there was this hope that he would rise again. And they put that in your mind, in your heart, because there's always hope that the right thing will happen. That's what keeps us going from day to day. If we knew tomorrow things would just get worse and worse and worse and worse, ultimately everybody would just spare themselves the problems and kill themselves. That's why that organization, American for Suicide Prevention, is to prevent people from being hopeless. It's to prevent people from saying, there's no reason for me to go on. That's the whole point behind why Zack Snyder even is raising funds for it right now, because Superman flies in the face of that. Superman, even though he was killed, brings the hope of rising again. Damien Anton Vincent says, men with power obey neither policy nor precept. Miss Lane, no one is different. No one is neutral. General Amajad, he has the same belief systems as Lex Luthor. However, that's not true. And Superman flew in the face of that. And we know he will rise again in Zack Snyder's Justice League. But does rising again mean that everything is well? No. As we see America rise from the ashes of 4 years of oppression, backward movement, into ostracizing and attacking and xenophobia and white supremacy. Even so, in the midst of the COVID, everything is not at peace because it's rising again. And similarly, we are not to expect, because Superman has rose from the dead and come back, that means everything is all well and good. Superman's back. That doesn't mean no. And that's what we expect in Zack Snyder's Justice League. How will they unite? How will they come together? The same question we should ask ourselves about America today. How is everybody going to unite? How is everybody going to come together? How is this going to pan out? It's beginning very rough, as all things. But how will it finally end? That's the question. And it's not an easy road to bring forth a new and different result. So I want us to bear these things in mind. When we came out of Batman v Superman in this journey, we came out of dead Superman. Lex Luthor knowing there's impending danger coming. And he's happy. He's in prison, but he's laughing because he succeeded. We have a mourning world, which is mourning Superman's death, but peace. There's a moment of peace, a rest from imminent danger. There's Batman realizing there's a threat coming on the horizon. He's trying to marshal a team together. What does this all mean? What does this all mean? How do you see this? How do you view this? Is the worst yet to come? Is the worst yet to come since Superman is dead? Has he only averted the beginning of a tremendous war. And that's the question you have to ask yourself about the present situation in America. Is it diverting World War III? Is it just a pause or a break? What is yet to come? We always felt that terrorists were people from without. Now we realize that there are people who terrorize us from within. Are the strangers within our gates those who come from outside of our country in? Or is it really people who are within, who believe some of their rights and privileges are being stripped from them, and they've turned against the very nation? These are the questions we ask. When we juxtapose Clark Kent, aka Kal-El, with Lex Luthor, we see one person who wants to exude the best of humanity and another who exudes the worst of humanity. Diametrically opposed. We have the Superman, and then we have the villain. The villain behaves more like an alien, and the Superman behaves more like a citizen. The Superman gives his life for Earth, whereas the villain is not willing to give his life, but to take life, and take life from leaders, take life from those who are honorable, all to set up the Superman. This is real. That's the scenario going on in the world today, right now, as we speak. Batman v Superman. And Batman was of a similar mindset, but he was woken out of it because he sincerely wanted to do good for fellow men. He sincerely wanted to do good for humanity. So that is the second part of our journey. Where we are at today was because we took steps from Batman v Superman and we spoke out. And suddenly the Justice League became us, the Snyder Cut family. And we were organized. Fiona Zhang was one of the early people who helped us organize amongst the Release the Snyder Cut at the time Twitter handle. And we were organized into doing a number of things to make the point. From the Comic Cons, when we used to have Comic Con, now it's virtual. And we would attend Comic Cons and we would spread handouts and we would speak about the Release the Snyder Cut movement, to banners on Times Square, to airplanes flying Release the Snyder Cut so that Warner Brothers could see. When the change in hands from Jeff Johns to Walter Hamada came on, Walter Hamada was swept with letters. All of us posted from our home places, different parts of the world. We then went on to raise money for suicide prevention, for Feeding America, joining with Subway and all of the other retailers of food who pledged to double their donations. Feeding America. America still needs feeding today. Lots of families hungry. And we can still continue to donate to Feeding America. We could still donate to suicide prevention and awareness, as well as we could still buy up those T-shirts. By the way, you can see I am also Damien. I'm wearing your shirt. Release the Snyder Cut. Oh, you guys can't see it. Let me show you. There it is. Bam. The movement has grown and grown from those people who realized that BVS was a great movie and did not like that the studio was compromising the creativity of the artists. And we jumped. We were the first. We were the pioneers of jumping on board to defend the artists. And we got through after 3 years, almost 4 years. Now we're getting this movie today because of our proactive movements and our abilities not to be shut down, not to be denied, not to be hushed into silence, not to be shamed. We stood and we spoke for 3 years. And now, after 3 years, almost 4 years, we're going to get this movie. That's the journey. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I hope that we apply this principle to the air cut, which hopefully HBO Max will release as well. And or hopefully this movie is a tremendous success. Now, how big an event will this movie be? How big an event will it be? Tremendous event, right? We just looked at the polls and we realized that this is one of the most sought after movies on HBO Max. This is one of the most anticipated events ever. Why? Because not only are we getting what we were going to get from Zack Snyder, we're going to get even more. We're going to get it even more like how Zack Snyder wanted it to be. So it's going to be even bigger than ever, which is a great thing. And I can't wait for that. Of course, we still don't know what the date is to this movie, but this is going to be a tremendous, 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 debut. Now, where can we access it? And I hope it's the 4-hour movie, because if some people are getting the 4-hour cut and some people are getting a mini series, I don't think that makes sense. Unless they show the 4-hour cut after the mini series has come out, in which case a lot of people will not have seen it. So hopefully they do the 4-hour cut and just put that out there on HBO and just let everybody check it out for 4 hours. And if they want to do a mini series after that, they're free to do that. You know what I mean? But I am hyper, super excited for this movie. And I hope it comes out on HBO Max. And I hope we can have an IMAX down here that can accommodate the actual movie, because I want to actually see it in its all its glory and its splendor on a humongous screen. And I don't care if it's COVID or not, I'm going to see it. Okay. It's gonna be epic. Like Damian Anton Vincent said, it's gonna be epic. It's definitely gonna be epic, brother. So what is it that we can do as Snyder Cut fans? Well, obviously, on the 31st of this month, everybody's going to be at a certain time. Everybody's going to be just tweeting Zack Snyder's Justice League all over Twitter. So we're going to light up Twitter with that. But as it's coming up to this event, I definitely would like for each and every one of us to actually start hyping it up right now. That release the Snyder Cut, was tremendously successful. We got the movie we wanted, thanks to Jason Keeler and Warner Media and all the people responsible in Warner Media and AT&T for overriding Warner Brothers Pictures. And even though there's this slight little war still between Warner Brothers Pictures, we can see that the way is being cleared for Zack Snyder's Justice League to have its spot and its time and its day in the sun. And we, as Snyder Cut fans, need to make it a tremendously tremendous success. We want this thing to be a success so that we can continue to restore the Snyder verse. We believe the Snyder verse is something that's very important. Just like how right now America is restoring itself, I believe the Snyderverse will be restored so that we can see. Particularly, I'm looking forward to Ray Fisher's contribution to the Snyder Cut. I'm really looking forward to what Ray Fisher has to bring to the table, and just the fact that Hollywood is being remodeled and reshaped by some of the things that Ray Fisher actually, was a proponent of, is a huge thing as well. And I do believe Hollywood's going to get shaked up a bit and remodeled a bit. It's already being shaked up in Warner Brothers. Most of the people are almost out of DC and Warner Brothers, right? Jeff Johns is just like he has one or two things that he's actually involved in, some projects, but basically almost all his stuff is being shut down. Of course, we all know that Joss Whedon being fired from his last set of projects that he had. And John Berg is in some other department. I think he's in New Line Cinema now, but he's completely out of DC right now. Tommy Emmerich is still there. He lied about Justice League, just having little touches from Joss Whedon. He should be held accountable, as well as Walter Hamada. He wasn't there, but he seems to have a similar mindset where they want a lot of jokes and funny stuff for DC and Warner Brothers. And the fact that he tried to defend and protect Jeff Johns from getting fired showed that he was not very trustworthy. And so Ray Fisher, he gave very transparent, very honest comments of his views on Walter Hamada, who, remember, Walter Hamada didn't want to sign on, or Tommy Emmerich wanted to sign on to Joker. Okay, so you can't give them credit for Joker, the Joker movie. Joker came as a result of persistence by a lady who just recently got fired from them. She persisted, and that's how Joker came through to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this Academy Award winning, groundbreaking movie that came out by Todd Phillips. I want to give a shout out also to Ben Affleck, who's been doing a lot of good things in Hollywood. And I still love his movie Live by Night, to be honest. If you guys haven't seen Live by Night, you should check it out. It has a little cursing, but it's very organic, and it has different elements to it that I really, really, really enjoy. And you guys should really check it out. But Ben Affleck, big shout out to him. Shout out to the whole entire crew that worked with Zack Snyder on Justice League. Their support thrown behind Ray Fisher, who was the first guy to actually throw support behind Zack Snyder, which is why I continuously support Ray Fisher. But Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa has huge, huge contracts with Warner Brothers now and other agencies, Netflix and so on. But he's doing well. Henry Cavill's doing very well. Gal Gadot's doing very, very well. The only people now we have to look out for is Ray Fisher and also the actor who played the Flash, Ezra Miller. So those are the only other two we have to look out for. Of course, they also have the side actors who were sacked from Justice League. The actor who was playing Cyborg's mother, Iris West, the actor who was playing Iris West, was sacked. And I think, again, that these choices show a certain ethnic bias towards them. I just find it very strange that these things happen, and so I'm just very happy that Ray Fisher continues to push this cause, and also to expose Walter Hamada and all the other people who are trying to sabotage Justice League even to this late hour. They're trying things to sabotage it, but they will fail, and we as fans will get what we want. So I'm very excited about it. Do I think that we should have have a live watch of the Justice League movie? If I can get it on Google Plus, if I can get it downloaded on Google Plus, because I have purchased Batman v Superman via Google Plus. So if I can get it on Google Plus, I will definitely we could have a live watch where you're not going to see the movie, but you'll see us talking and discussing and reacting to it. So if I could do that, may need to get another phone or something, or maybe not. We could all sync it up and watch it together. Those who will have the HBO Max, it's good for you guys. But we're looking forward to this movie so bad. I'm so excited about it. I can't tell you. Right now, I'm jumping up and down because I'm kind of very excited that it's this close. It's like what, less than 2 months away? Oh, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. So looking forward to it. You guys need to drum up some more excitement, so don't forget to drum it up on Twitter. The hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you can put up things like photos, pictures, the build up trailers, John Aaron Gaza, he tends to do trailers all the time. Um, you can build up for it. You know what I mean? You also do symbols of what each. I see people doing these interesting little like there's the outer shell of it is like stationary, and inside of the inner shell of it they have these little animations going. Yeah, man, we gotta be hyped for this thing. We gotta be hyped for this thing. It's huge. It's momentous for a lot of us, and I really enjoy the energy that's going on right now on Twitter. A lot of people are putting up stuff on Twitter, and I just think that the environment and the timing couldn't be better for this movie. And the fact that Warner Brothers has made space for it, have cleared out a space for it. And this is just like a great thing for us as the fans that we have been able to be this successful this far with it. I think it's going to do tremendously well, better than Wonder Woman, I think. And we might just get to see it in cinemas. I'm looking forward to that. Really, that's the big thing. Um, and knowing Zack Snyder is going to be tremendous. It's going to be tremendous, and I look forward to seeing every bit of it, and then having a discussion with you guys. I'll probably do a movie review with you guys on it, and then we could even watch it live, and we could even watch the trilogy live. That'll be like an epic marathon, probably a Sunday or something. We just go through every single one of the movies in the trilogy up to that point, and I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about Ben Affleck's Batman in it, particularly Cyborg, because I'm partial towards Cyborg. For those of you who don't know, I really like Cyborg, the mythology behind him, and etc. So I'll be looking forward to seeing how Cyborg's handling that movie, which I heard is the heart of the movie, Cyborg. So if the movie turns out well with Cyborg doing what he's supposed to do, Cyborg was the best part actually of the theatrical version of Justice League. So I really do expect him to be, everything and some. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see what Ray Fisher did there, and I'm pretty sure, based on his performance, Warner Brothers will probably be in a bind to hire him again. So that's why Ray is making all these demands and everything, because he realizes, he's got some play there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how exciting this will be. As you can tell, I'm super duper hyped. I'm super hyped for this movie, and I hope that you guys can keep that excitement and that energy going all the way past the time when, because we waited like what, 3 years, almost 4 years for this movie. So, I expect everybody to be really excited about it, and can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. All right. This is probably going to be the highlight of 2021. Kong's great. I saw the trailer for Kong. I also saw a trailer for, I think it was Superman and Lewis, something like that, from the CW. And they didn't do too bad. They didn't do too bad with the trailer. I wouldn't say it's great, but they didn't do too bad. You know what I'm saying? But man, we even got a trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. We only got that pre-trailer thing. You know what I'm saying? And the cool thing about Zack is Zack comes from some awkward or odd ways. He does some interesting takes. Like he would do something different. So you might be looking for hyped up music. Junkie XL. We got a little taste of Junkie XL. One of the things I gotta say about Warner Bros., man, when it comes to soundtracks and instrumentals, scores, god damn, they really kill it. You know what I'm saying? But, so I can't wait to hear what Junkie XL put together on this thing, to hear the soundtrack, to be on the edge of my seat because of the suspense in the movie. How the way they had built it up with the first 3 trailers. Oh man, can't wait for that, and just the epicness of it. I can't wait for that. Come on now. Zack Snyder knows how to do action. If there's one thing you know how to do is action. You know what I'm saying? So man, I can't wait. I can't wait for that either. And a lot of people wanted to see this movie. You know, it's gonna be real kick ass. You know what I'm saying? It was very exciting. It's very exciting thinking about all of that. Uh, it's very exciting. It's just super exciting. And the cool thing about it is, from what I heard, we don't even know. We don't even have 1/3 of the story. Like we got an idea where the story goes, but we don't really have the full. I was looking at I think a previs of Steppenwolf fighting Mira. And what's interesting is that the Steppenwolf versus Mira that I saw was the one from the theatrical cut. Right? The previous probably not going to be like that. It'd probably be different or a piece of it. But the fact that we haven't even seen much of the movie, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We haven't even seen much of the movie. Think about this. They said about 80% of the movie was reshoots, right? That 2 hours and what was it, 2 hours and 2 minutes or something like that, or 2 hours, whatever it was. So 80% of that was reshoots. That means 20% of that, 20% of that was Zack Snyder stuff. So you know what that means? Think about that. That's 1/5 of 2 hours. What's 1/5 of 2 hours? Huh? What's 1/5 of 2 hours? You know what I'm saying? That's what that's like what 20, what's that? That's like 24 minutes. 24 minutes of the theatrical cut was all we saw of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Oh man. So I'm just saying, we ain't seen nothing yet. And I can't wait to see what he's actually done with the movie and where it goes and what the story is. And just to be able to rewatch it again and again. I know it's 4 hours long, so you can't be like a whole day, you can't be watching the movie all day. But I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. If you ain't hyped for that, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Um, let's talk about just a few little updates, and then we're out of here. So we're talking about promoting the event. You know, we as fans, we can take to Twitter, take to Facebook. I have a number of Facebook groups that I actually own, but the problem with it is I can't really post anything to Facebook right now. They banned me until February 22nd. It's crazy. It's crazy that it would ban me that long on Facebook. They banned me for not even saying anything to anyone. I didn't say anything to anyone. I said something about a boxer in one of my boxing forums. I said he quit like a bitch. And apparently that triggered them censoring me. But you know, this is what's happening these days. Tech companies are censoring people, and then they apologize for censoring me wrong, but they couldn't undo the censor. It was crazy. I could only like things. This is nuts. They should at least fix their software. But it is what it is. I didn't even bother about it. And so I can't really post anything up on Facebook like I would like to. But shout out to all those who are on social media. You can post up on Facebook in groups. You can post up Zack Snyder's Justice League, and where it's going to be available on HBO Max, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel, you can go in, comment. You can also, download the trailers of Zack Snyder's Justice League and, spread it around. But I think a lot of people already from the Snyder Cut know about it, Snyder Cut universe. But if you're beyond the Snyder Cut universe, it's good to get into different forums with different people and just advertise it just for people's curiosity. Some people will like it, some people won't like it. I know we like it. This is why we want it, right? So I think there's a sizable amount of us worldwide that would cause the demand for it to be such that it would be definitely very profitable to HBO Max. Unfortunately, just HBO Max. I wish they would open up their their um their their channel, or their what's the word I'm looking for? The option for them, they're showcasing, cable company, HBO Max. I hope they would open it out to outside of America, but so far, not so far. It is what it is. The important thing is that every single person who wants to support the Snyder Cut, lives in the United States of America, they need to support it, and soon. So hopefully that can happen. And those people who don't have HBO Max that are living inside of America that can get access to it, they should really at least subscribe to it for the Snyder Cut. So hopefully subscriptions are going up in the sky as we speak. Anyway, this is what I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am disciple. This is pretty much the end of my feed. If you guys don't have anything extra to say, if there's any extra news that you guys see around, I will be back again today, a little later on today. But as of now, I'm going to sign off for the moment. But I can't wait to see what comes to the table with this particular movie. This is the center of my focus. I mean, some people like the Godzilla versus Kong and the Dune thing, but my thing is Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's where I live and die by right now. I hope you guys have a good one. Damian Acton Vincent says later, later, my brother. Later to all the people in the Snyder Cut fandom. Love you guys, man. And let's stay together and let's keep on working towards other things. Let's keep this movement going. I'll catch you guys later. What you need is not my name right now. It is Christ and Disciple, and I'm out.